The man was mostly naked. Kiki had seen him before, at the end of the Burrito Palace, and then again as he walked along the main road outside of town. She drove 100 yards past him, and then pulled over and waited. When he caught up, Kiki leaned over and she said, "Where are you going?" "Fairgrounds," said the man. His voice was like a dump truck on an unpaved road. "Okay," Kiki said. "Get in." "Thanks," he said. He was big and used the frame of the door to lever himself into the cab of the truck. A wide swath of gauzy fabric covered his chest and shifted loosely around his waist and did a bad job of covering his secrets. The rodeo was always bringing crazies to town. The cowboys ended up at the pizzeria or the Burrito Palace wearing fringe and rhinestones, trying to sneak their horses into the movie theater or kiss you when you weren't looking to be kissed. Then a week later, they're gone, and all you're left with are hoof prints on the linoleum and a lasso that's supposed to be a promise, but never actually is. "You with the rodeo?" Kiki said. "Nah," the man said. Your car break down?" "I don't have a car," he said. "Just walking." Just walking," Kiki said. He looked at her. "I used to fly most places of any distance. I walk now. I gave that up. You meet more people walking." "I wouldn't mind flying somewhere someday," Kiki said. But there's never been a place I needed to get to that fast. I drove to Colorado once. That was once in a lifetime kind of experience." "Everything is once in a lifetime," the man said. "Every moment in your life is once in a lifetime." Then, with a lot of grunting, the man maneuvered his bare feet onto the dashboard and stretched his legs onto the windshield and pressed his toes against the glass. His skirt flapped in the air conditioning. "Even the mistakes," he said. "Even the mistakes are once in a lifetime." "Sure," Kiki said. She dropped him off by the cattle yard at the end of the parking lot. He grunted and gasped and climbed out of the truck and turned to her and smiled. "Come back tomorrow," he said. "Tell them you're Ralph's friend. They'll let you in free." What kind of show is it?" Kiki said. "A good show," said Ralph. "A once in a lifetime kind of show." Then he walked towards the low dusty arena on the other side of the parking lot, and Kiki saw that he had two large glossy scars on his shoulder blades that puckered like huge mouths blowing kisses back at her. She turned her truck around and drove back home. 4 trailers from the end of the second row of mobile homes in the Rodeo Inn RV and Camping Park. Kiki stripped off her clothes and lay on her couch. In the cool darkness of her tiny living room, she perched one super burrito, extra cheese, between her sweaty breasts. She read the front page of the newspaper, and using only her lips, she slowly fed the burrito into her mouth. In the fading light of the living room, Kiki read until her eyes no longer made out the shapes on the printed page, and her mind scrambled the sentences on the page. The next morning, Kiki carried her shower kit and the corpse of a terry cloth towel to the women's shower. Her robe swayed in the lazy desert breeze, and her flip-flops slapped at her heels. $1 buys 5 minutes of uninterrupted hot water, and then 2 minutes of cold. Last year, the RV park and truck shop started offering a frequent bather perks card, and for 10 minutes a week, you get 6 showers and 1 self-service car wash. It's a pretty good deal, actually, and if you're skilled about it, then you can do double duty with the car wash. Finally, having a few days off, Kiki shaved her legs and installed a new radiator in her pickup. Then she put on a dress and her very best cowboy boots, and she drove back out to the fairgrounds. In the dusty, unpaid parking lot, 2 stout, winged babies took turns misting each other with glitter spray. 3 fawns stood away from them, ducking intensely and pawing the dirt with their hooves. A cone of wind swirled around them, and tumbleweed rolled by. One of the babies pointed at an open gate a little further down, and Kiki walked through it. "What's your name?" said a tiny woman holding a clipboard. "I'm Kiki," said Kiki. "Ralph's friend, I'm Kiki." The little woman had huge eyes, and her ears pointed out from her hair like fleshy daggers. She wrote something down and then handed Kiki a lanyard with a card on it that said, "Ralph's friend." "I'd keep that in your pocket if I were you," said the woman, and she scurried away. Kiki didn't have any pockets, so she tucked the card and the lanyard into the left boot. There were big creatures and furry critters, some that had 2 heads and a bunch of legs, and it was really enjoying 3 hot dogs and a corn on the cob. The beasts talked and clustered together, and in one corner a group of them did yoga. Kiki had never seen yoga before, not in real life, and she tried not to stare. Winged things of all types flew by, flapping and gliding and beating the air around her. Kiki scanned the crowd and looked for Ralph, and when she did not find him, she bought a cup of ambrosia salad and a bottle of mead and took a seat on the bleachers. For the first time, Kiki read the banner that waved across the arena, and it said, "International Air Harp Championships." The lights went down and the competition began. Kiki watched fawns and gnomes and ghosts air harp. It was like modern dance and air guitar and meditation mixed together. A panel of divine creatures judged and awarded points on some unknown criteria. And Kiki watched for hours as they took turns miming the instrument, feeling the music with their bodies, or a lack of bodies. Good hair harping is the moment when fear becomes fight, or love becomes touch, when the wild instinct of emotion is caught and strummed for the length of a song, and Kiki could feel the music reverberate through her body. Ralph emerged from the corner of the room and walked with his head bowed low. He climbed heavily up onto the platform in the middle of the arena, and when he lifted his face, the music began. His arms rose in front of him, and Kiki could see there was something gentle and familiar in the way he moved. His body shook and his great belly heaved, and the swath of cloth fell from his hips. He stood there in the center of the arena, naked and glowing with sweat and magic. A half-eaten corn on the cob smacked the middle of his chest. "Traitor!" someone yelled. Another voice called, "You're a phony!" And then another chanted, "Traitor! Traitor! Traitor!" until the whole arena vibrated with that sound. Kiki stared down at Ralph, and he kept dancing. He was a fisherman lost at sea, and then he was a grandfather holding a dying child. A mead bottle flew and hit him on the side of the head. Ralph swayed and then caught himself. When the second bottle crashed against his face, he stumbled and careened forward off of the podium, thumping face first into the dirt. Then, he didn't move. The creatures cheered and stomped their feet and yelled for more. Kiki ran down from the bleachers, pulling at her clothes, and when she reached the bottom step, she was naked, except for her favorite cowboy boots. The music still played, and Kiki climbed onto the platform. She reached into her left boot and pulled out the lanyard. She hung it around her neck, and the words, "Ralph's friend," bounced against her bare breasts. Kiki turned her face to the mob and began to dance. Her hands were caged birds, trying to break free, and then they were the water of a fountain on the hottest day of the year. The instrument she played was not harpshade at all. It was polygons and spheres of sound that she summoned with her fingers. Half a cup of ambrosia salad splatted against her left boot. The creatures stomped so loud, Kiki could no longer hear the music, but she kept dancing. She moved her body like she was getting stabbed, and had been every moment of her life. Thank you.